Welcome to the Purdue
Welcome to
basketball
the.
page.
Sorry.
Oh man, I had it.
Oh man.
This is what happens. This is what happens. We have with us Dowd.
The entire city of
So
Indianapolis.
this is terrible. Anish is going to be up all night editing this thing.
No, he's not. No. One thing we've learned is that he doesn't edit these at all because I dropped like an F-bomb on one once. And
Exactly. He'll get that. No.
And yeah, I made a couple racist jokes, like my usual routine, and nothing.
Mhm.
I will warn our listeners that Dowd has figured out how to use the Google Effects thing, and I mean, you got a preview of it last time. It's going to be so much worse this time.
I'm sorry. We interrupted your introductions, quarterback Michael. So go ahead.
It's beyond. I think we're here to talk about Purdue in the tournament, but I mean, really, who knows where this thing is going to go eventually. So
That's true. So So before this is Anish and that is Michael.
Yeah, we're supposed to do
for
this.
some reason.
That's right.
So you're just gonna. Yeah, somebody mute him. Good.
Let's see. Can I ban some? Oh, ignore. Ooh, wonder what that does.
I think I have the power to mute everybody.
I think we should actually try to put a good show together, but that's just me. Maybe that's only on the Handsome Hour.
In the face.
So, all right. So we're bringing it back. We're starting it back. We're ignoring whatever the hell it is that Dowd has going on with the beach scene on his video feed.
It's really nice here, guys.
It's really great. So happy that you could join us. So happy that you're here today.
Thank you.
So Purdue lost in the Big Ten tournament to Michigan State and got a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that pretty much sums it all up. We can probably just call it quits.
End of show.
Thanks for listening to the Purdue Basketball Beat.
Yep.
I guess one of the things that I learned today was that nobody thinks much of the Big Ten because if you think about it, not that we like IU, but the Big Ten regular season champs get a 5. The teams that play in the tournament final get a 2 and a 5. Michigan State, I know not State fans here either, but they played a pretty damn good conference tournament. They were what do they rank? 2 in the country last week?
Yeah.
And so now they're at least 5th, according to right. So I don't know. Is that a commentary on the Big Ten?
It's obviously commentary on the Big Ten, right? I mean,
it has to be, I guess. But that's
I think someone mentioned that the committee has really done poorly evaluating the ACC in the past, and they overcorrected this year a little bit. Oh, God. Now we got the puppy dog face.
Well, the big thing is that Oregon ended up. I mean, to me, the surprise is Oregon at 4. I don't see how Oregon gets that. So I'm looking at the complete seed list.
What about Duke and California were bigger surprises?
Yeah, but those are lower, right? I mean, like the bigger impact stuff is like Oregon getting
How about Cal being over Purdue though? Cal's above Purdue in this.
So in the complete seed, Cal is a 14, where Duke is a 13, and maybe those teams are more talented than Purdue. But if you look, I thought we were supposed to be doing this by looking at the resume, right? Like that's the whole thing. That's the selection committee's whole big thing is that you look at the resume and you see who's done enough this year, regardless of who they have on their regardless of the name of the school and who they have on their roster. You just look at the body of work and you go by that. But Syracuse getting in with 19 wins. I mean, like I don't get it.
They got in because the committee said even ahead of time that they give special consideration to teams that miss star players or star coaches, and Jim Boeheim being out. What is that?
Can we just do this, really? Do I have to be the dad here? Can we just do this?
You're part of the problem.
No, I'm not!
You're part of the problem because 7-8 years ago, you approached Dowd and were like, let's start this website together. And that was
9 years ago.
This is on you.
And, yeah, I know. I don't know. You were making a point. I think, Michael, but I don't remember what it was at this point.
Well, so let's
The point is that because Jim Boeheim was out for 9 games, they disregarded all those bad
but
losses.
why? See, I saw them talking about that on ESPN the other night too, and that just kind of infuriates me because if you're talking about the whole resume, come on, dude.
No,
Really?
but it's the same. It's the same reason why.
Hold on. We got to reset here.
Do we really need to do this?
We don't need to do it. I need to do it because I've been angry for the past 2 hours, and this is not straight from that. I'm mad at my country.
This is the worst. This is by far the worst episode of the Purdue
that he's ever behaved.
And we've had some doozies, especially in that first year. There were some really bad.
Oh, okay.
All right, your Syracuse point, Mike.
I don't even know. What the
the thing I jumped in on it though. I heard what his point was that they weren't going to count those. They weren't looking at those games that Boeheim missed. And the thing that annoys me about that is how is that like we're going to look at the team's whole profile? Oh, except for these exceptions. So like okay, then for Purdue, I don't want you to look at the times when they didn't show up. When I don't want you to look at games against let's say Butler. Like what? Because, and for MSU, does that mean you don't look at the games when Denzel Valentine wasn't there? I guess that's what it means, but how is that? Well, but then why do we look at games then why do good wins in December count? That was a long time ago.
But they're allowed to use whatever criteria they want, right? So, and a lot of them value recent play over past play, which is contradictory to what others value, which is stuff like non-conference performance. So it's really there's no like trying to assign some rational framework to how they decide these things is a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm. So right now Purdue is sitting at a 5 seed. I think I'm okay with that. Like it's a lot lower than what we thought. We were pretty much we all pretty much thought that Purdue was locked into a 4, and if they won the Big Ten tournament, they'd be at a 3. I think me and Michael, I think we were on the bandwagon that the results of the Big Ten tournament don't matter, or the results of the championship don't matter, because I think they had already I think they had already
at 3:30 on Sunday.
Well, they clearly didn't care at all about the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they've made not the tournament as a whole, but at least the championship.
The last day,
yeah. So I think they'd made up their mind anyway. I was fairly convinced that Purdue was a 4, but looking at this, I think the 5 that we got in the Midwest.
That's what I was going to say. You're okay with the path more than the seed.
The path is not the problem at all. Here, let me ask you guys this question, especially you, Anish, since you spoke.
I'm just glad Dowd has a contribution that's not. Drawing.
I can go back the other way.
I was going to say, Michael, come on.
Yeah, don't poke the bear.
Bear.
Seriously. So, sorry, I had a joke. I'm not going to say it. All right. So, Anish, by what measure?
Nobody pokes the bear anymore. Not enough, anyway.
By what measure is Purdue 20th to 24th best team in America?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I keep asking. Okay, Purdue finished the season strong. Purdue, their only bad loss was Illinois.
17.
Every other loss comes against tournament teams, right? Their RPI, their Sagarin, their Pomeroy, their BPI, they were all between 10 and 16. I can't find a measure in which Purdue deserves that 5 seed. And same with IU, actually. I mean, but you look at here's the other one, right? We've all watched a lot of basketball tournament committees, right? And they all, every year, they come up with a different idea that they're going to focus and stress on. But one of the things they've said for like the last 5 or 7 years is that the body of work matters, right? Purdue's body of work is damn good, right? The whole season they were steady, they were strong, they beat teams they're supposed to beat. I mean, and compare it to the rest of the nation. That's the thing that's maddening about this, is you have tons of teams losing to teams they shouldn't lose to, right? You had more top 10 losses by February 15 than you had ever had in a season. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like the rest of the nation, just had tons of juggernauts, right? So I can't figure out what measure Purdue deserves a 5
Purdue was in the top 20. Purdue's in the top 20 for pretty much the entire season, except for maybe those
rankings don't matter. Purdue was 4-5 against the RPI top 50. That's a thing they care about.
All right. So they
I'm
were
grasping at straws here.
sure. I know you are. I appreciate it. I actually do appreciate it. I mean, and
Well,
they were 2-2, 2-2, and versus the top 10, right?
Beat two top 10 teams. Yeah, that's not bad either.
Five is pretty low. I mean, and I know the path is okay. I don't respect Iowa State. I've been saying that since back in December, when I saw their fans rush the court for the 50th time in the past 3 years. They dropped a lot in my book. But I'm like, screw Iowa State. So Purdue gets beat by I don't really. I mean, I don't think I'm not eating my words or anything. I don't think they're that good of a team. So. The uneven hand this committee had is just maddening.
So I have a theory about the about Purdue being so low and the Big Ten being so low, and I think not to blame any single school, but Iowa, this is your fault. So the top four of the Big Ten ended up after that crazy season, it ended up the way people thought thought it would, right? Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue, and Maryland in some order.
Yep.
For the majority of the season, we thought, and the nation and the selection committee thought, that Iowa was another one. Like Iowa was another top 10 team that could be contended with, a national contender, whatever. They flamed out hard at the end of the year, and what people think about a conference is more what they think of that upper middle class.
Yep. And it's really those top 3 or 4, right? I mean,
and so the Big Ten doesn't have that. I mean, that upper middle is Wisconsin and Michigan, and Iowa was supposed to be in this upper echelon with Xavier and Nova and Oklahoma and all of these teams. They were supposed to be in that the ladder or whatever, and then they collapsed. They completely collapsed, and I think Iowa's complete collapse made the selection committee and Michigan, giving up games down the road. Wisconsin, kind of not being able to beat Purdue at the end of the season, not being able to beat some of the great teams that were on their schedule at the end of the season. Indiana losing in the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
Sure.
I think all of that kind of coalesced over the last 2 or 3 weeks and made the Big Ten look a lot weaker than before. And that's how you get, so if you look at the complete seed list, that's how you get Michigan State at 5, Indiana at 17, Purdue at 18, Maryland at 19, instead of all of those pushed up in the top 15 like you see on any other ranking systems that looks at the entire body of work.
Who is the committee? Who comprised the committee?
A dark room, smoke-filled room full of men, mostly white men.
Right. Are they all athletic directors from the Big 12 or Big 12 SEC, ACC?
Do you want to know the committee? The committee is chaired by Oklahoma's athletic director, and also they're all athletic directors. From LSU, North Carolina, Asheville, BYU, Michigan State, Stanford, Creighton, and Northeastern for some reason, Ohio, and Duke, which is funny that Duke's AD is on there and they get a 4 seed too.
Ohio University, that's Jim Schaus, right? He was supposed to be on Purdue's shortlist, right?
I don't know. I think there's one person on Purdue's shortlist.
Yeah, I think Jim Schaus is the guy from Ohio University.
It's Berghoff. That's the list.
But I mean, they're all athletic directors, and I don't know how closely they pay attention. See, that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, I think the internet overthinks this because not for bad reason, right? The internet analyzes this and does this word for word what these selection committee people say, right?
Words matter, right? Words matter.
But here's the thing: is that these people say their criteria, and the public takes that criteria for gospel and then interprets it exactly how they think that those words should be, and you get all of these different ranking systems that are very that are very objective. But I think they just put freaking numbers in a hat. You know what I mean? Like it's it's
And they look for matchups, and sometimes I think sometimes a seed might happen. You may get some. What's the favoring as far as location? Is it top 4 or top 5? You know how
They
like
it's top 4 definitely, but
because Purdue actually would be in Chicago for the regional final.
mhm.
So again, when we talk about things,
yeah.
when we talk about things that when you talk about being pissed off about the seed, that was my first reaction. Was when I saw the path. The first thing I was thinking about was the teams that I'm afraid of. There's no Oklahoma. There's no West Virginia in this, right? There's no Kansas, Kentucky, the teams that I really don't want to deal with. Like now, there's Michigan State. The Michigan
Even a
State.
team like Xavier's not in there. You know what I
Xavier
mean?
would scare the hell out of me. Absolutely. So I think
IU is a much tougher path. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, theirs is terrible. They're going to lose in the second round if they get that far. They're not going to beat Kentucky.
No, I think everything is really, like you were saying, really set up for Purdue to do good things.
Up to Purdue right now. Let's put it that way. I'm not suggesting that they can roll over all these teams, but if I said, Nisha, I might have said this to you like a week or two ago. If I had to pick a one to face, it would have been Virginia. I was saying that like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and here they go. Like of all the ones that are out there, they're the one that I think I fear the least. Right? I mean, they're not. I know they play great defense, but
Even less so than Oregon.
well, that's a good point. I wasn't ever thinking of Oregon as a one, but yeah, I think I don't know anything about Oregon.
I mean, they're not bad. They've had a pretty decent season, although they've had some really
Oopsie,
weird
take your
losses. So like UNLV and Boise, they lost to Boise State.
They have really good guard play, really good guards, and the thing is, they're really inexperienced too. So for them to get the one is pretty good. But I forgot, I'm blanking on their coach's name, but their coach is really good.
They are benefiting from the committee really valuing the Pac-12 because pretty much
Yeah, how about
all of their
that?
quality wins came against Pac-12 opponents. I'm looking at their non-con, and I mean, they didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, they beat Baylor, but I mean, Baylor's not that good. So
It's a joke. This committee sucks balls. That's all there is to it. Every time I keep coming back to it, it's like you can find reasons they're just asininely stupid. I mean, this is the biggest punch in the nuts Purdue has ever gotten.
I'm surprised I'm the only one who's brought up, I mean, to Dowd's point, how much they suck. Duke.
Yeah.
Duke is 20th in the RPI, 22 in KenPom, and they're a 4th seed.
So Duke, where are they playing, by the way? Where's Duke playing?
Probably in
Raleigh Durham.
In their own arena, yeah.
Well, they're playing versus a North Carolina team. That's pretty interesting.
Duke has an amazing path to the Elite Eight. I mean, they play UNC Wilmington, then Baylor or Yale, and then their number 1 seed is Oregon. So
that's a really good point.
They've got a great path.
You know who could come out of that little quadrant is Cincinnati. Cincinnati could beat St. Joe's and then Oregon.
I actually think Cincinnati got punished a bit. That St. Joe's team has been hot.
Yeah.
Right? They played really well the last 10 days.
Well,
2 weeks.
Since you bring that up, maybe we should talk a little bit about Purdue having to play, as Anish said in an email to all of us, one of the best stories of the season. Anish, tell us a little bit about Arkansas Little Rock.
Man.
So apparently, there's a really good article on CBSSports.com by Sam Vecini. Apparently, they a year ago basically turned over they did turn over their entire roster. So their coach is named Chris Beard. He was a coach at the D2 and D3 level. He was hired to kind of turn like a slow turnaround. A high upside kind of job that he took in the Sun Belt, and the roster is comprised completely of transfers. They're all like every single one of them are transfers, or junior college pickups or what have you. Most of them are actually from either the junior college or D2 level, coming up to D1. And Chris Beard has coached them up to the point where they won the Sun Belt Championship game a year into his tenure, and he did it by instituting this suffocating defense, apparently. So just, I would highly suggest reading it. It's a very short, to the point article, but Sam Vecini's thing was in this notable stat was 6.2 is Little Rock's steal percentage, which is one of the best in the country, and their backcourt is really active. And so just want to read this quote: that toughness level in the backcourt is one of the reasons they'll be a trendy upset pick. If they get match up with a team like Purdue, Texas A&M, or California that can get turnover prone in the backcourt, there's a chance they can turn some heads.
Do they press?
It looks like they do. Yeah.
I think it's more ball pressure than press.
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
I'm not as bothered by that. I think that shows a guy that kind of saw a couple Purdue games and he's run with that entire thing.
Vicini? Vicini is a Big Ten guy. He's from Ohio State.
But Purdue really didn't struggle turning the ball over unless a team got pressure after him. I mean, Butler's the only game really that they.
I disagree. I think turnovers in the post are an issue. I mean, post turnovers are an issue. Press is an issue. Like when Biggie gets that bailout pass at the top of the key and they pressure him, that's an issue. Like turnovers right there are an issue. Not that I think Purdue could lose in the first round, but to this team, but it's not going to be easy. I really don't think it's going to be easy. They also don't have that much size, but they do have two guys over 6'10". So they do have bodies they can throw. I think Purdue's going to overwhelm pretty much anybody.
I think that's the thing. I look at that roster. I mean, Purdue had one bad game versus an undersized team, right? Really, Illinois. Actually, you could say Butler, I guess. But that's generally Purdue just overpowered teams, especially if they don't have a ton of bodies to throw. Look at what Michigan State did, how they countered Purdue today, is they just kept throwing big guys at them. I mean, that was the funny thing. You look at what Izzo did versus the first time Purdue played him, he just threw goons at Purdue, I think a lot of teams will want to do that. Maryland tried the same tactic, really. So, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about all of college basketball, about Purdue versus Arkansas, Little Rock, or anybody else. The one thing that Purdue needs to be well aware of, and everybody needs to have their heads on right, because anybody can beat anybody this year. That the parity is a real thing in college basketball, right? And so, is this year the 16-1? Maybe Oregon's pretty weak. Who knows? I keep waiting for it to happen, but it's such an odd year where so many teams got beaten. So many teams got beaten by teams they shouldn't have gotten beaten by. If Purdue comes in pissed off because they weren't a higher seed, like you look at Vince's body language, and
that was great.
I loved it. But if they don't use that to fuel them, if they don't say we've been disrespected, now we need to prove everybody wrong. If they come in there pouting, they could lose.
No, I think they'll do the former. They seem like they've been that way.
I think so.
The whole remember the name thing, that's kind of how they've been acting, and they wanted to prove something all year, and I feel like even in this Big Ten tournament, they wanted to prove something.
Oh, they played, except for Hammonds today, who, I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys can fill me in, but in Banker's life, it looked like he was in a massive malaise in the first half.
He just looked gassed. I mean, he looked so tired. He was getting to the right spots, but he wasn't sealing his defender off like he could. Yeah. He wasn't making contact with screeners like he usually does. Like when he's actually going for a screen, he wasn't quite making contact and then dipping down. Yeah. He would pull a little early, which is a really key sign of fatigue.
Yeah. But he also missed a lot of shots that kind of rimmed out early. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he had a couple of really bad shots. But he had a couple shots that would like circled out, and those are the types of things that if they fall, he gets into a rhythm.
It's just that adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah. Right. And that's what I thought. I read it as when those shots weren't falling, he was kind of like, dang, it's in my day, and he was kind of not kicking himself into gear, And then I had two friends text me. They're like, somebody, if you're at Ryan, you're there, go make sure you get an espresso down to Hammonds, because he looks like he's sluggish, And so one of the funniest plays, I mean, from what I could see, was when Purdue started that run in the second half, and he got around his man and dunked on him, and he got fouled, and his face was blank. And I don't know if that was. I don't know.
I think that was like a badass thing, though.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Was he just
He does that all the time, and it's awesome. I love it. Like, just absolutely nothing. Like, nobody, no facial expression, nothing like that. It's the best.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think the team does look like they're Purdue looks like they're playing with a different focus and different gear, except for that one thing. The thing that I hope Hammonds understands, maybe if they'll watch the film, hopefully Painter says something like this. Even if you're tired, even if you're not feeling well, whatever, it doesn't matter. These guys reflect you, because when he and Dave, when he's playing well, Davis plays well, then everybody kind of jumps in, and when he's a little sluggish. And I think that team reflects that. So,
Have you guys seen this thing? I was just trying to. For those of you listening, you can't see this, of course, but hang on a second. You guys seeing this thing on my screen right now that's been kicking around
That
Twitter
thing?
right now?
A thing, Anish.
yeah,
No,
that's
so
right.
what I think what he's trying to pull up is 538's March Madness prediction. So they do
Nothing coming up
round.
because it says I'm sharing my screen.
No, so I just saw you tweet it out, but so if you go to 538, they've done the March Madness predictions and the round by round probabilities, and thus you get the final probabilities of a team winning the whole thing, and the top 10 is filled with ones and twos. Few. I think Kentucky and West Virginia are up there. Purdue has I think it's the 10th best odds at winning, ninth best odds at winning, and they are the highest lower than 4 seed up there. And so that I think that's a testament to how weak the Midwest is actually, and. I don't want, maybe hopefully we'll have another podcast next week talking about this matchup with Virginia. But if Purdue matches up you say Oregon is the number 1 seed you wanted. I wanted Virginia because their game is slow it down, ground and pound, that kind of. I think Purdue can do that better than them. Like, I think they want to try to pick up the pace. Malcolm Brogdon is great, but he's not a huge offensive threat. He's more of a defensive stop. I mean, he's more of a defensive savant. And I don't know. I think Purdue matches up really well with them. I think that's what's kind of pushing up some of these probabilities. And then in the Elite Eight, it's Michigan State is the matchup.
Oh man!
And Michigan State, getting a third shot at Michigan State is, whew.
I love it.
I mean, that would be. I mean, that's
Izzo and March is tough. Although I realize anyone at the Elite Eight level is going to be tough, but
that's going to be a 60-40, 60-40 probability split probably. And I don't mind our odds there. And Purdue knows them. I mean, I don't know which of the Boiled Sports people running the website or the Twitter feed it was, but one of you tweeted out that this feels like a heavyweight match. This feels like
just the way they were punching each other today, man. It was like in that halfway through the second half, it just was like body blows, man. They just doing stuff back and forth, and it didn't matter. Michigan State, we had a couple good shots in, and Purdue just wouldn't go away. And I think that'd be an amazing Elite Eight. But man, that one would suck too if you lost there. It'd be just like 2000, losing to a team you're playing yet again from your own conference. So, but I'll take it if it happens.
I wouldn't mind it.
No.
I mean, because then to get there, you'd have to beat. I'm looking at the 12 seeds, and honestly, South Dakota State's all right, but the most dangerous 12 seed is Arkansas Little Rock, and so you'd have to get through them. You'd have to get through George Niang, from probably, assuming that Iowa State beats Iona, and then you'd have to get through Virginia, and I mean that would be a hell of a season. That would be. And especially getting to the Big Ten championship game.
Are you writing off that Seton Hall wouldn't be who we'd meet in the Elite Eight? I feel like you are.
Yeah, I think I'm writing off Seton Hall.
Did you see though that? Did I see?
Man, I watched them play in person. They're an interesting team.
Dude, they beat Xavier and Villanova back-to-back days.
That's pretty good.
Seton Hall can be.
They got some horses, man.
Because they have the thing that you need to upset teams in the tournament, which is a guy that you can give the ball to and have win games for you. Isaiah Whitehead is the truth. He is so good, and he'll win a game for them if they can get past Gonzaga, who has.
They'll get past.
I mean, you say that, but Gonzaga can pull out a win. I mean, they're not a bad team.
They're not a good tournament team, though. They never have been.
I mean, I'm not sure how results from prior seasons have too much of an effect. 'Cause, I mean, you could say that about
Coaches
Purdue.
matter.
Right?
Yeah, sure, you
Coaches
can.
matter.
You can. Yep.
But I mean, they've got big guys who can play on the post or on the perimeter, so that's always going to be a bad matchup for.
Wiltshire can't really play in the post though. I mean, he loves facing up and being out at like 20 feet.
Yeah, but Sabonis can.
Yeah, Sabonis can. But you say big zzz.
Okay.
Mike just did the IU fan argument against me. I was talking about how Gonzaga sucks and will probably lose a seat in Hall, and he goes, "Well, Purdue's lost in the tournament before."
Well, the argument that because 5 years ago or however long it was that Gonzaga underperformed.
They've underperformed for 20 years.
The previous year's games don't have any impact on this year's team.
Oh, all right. And then why do Purdue fans always see it coming?
Because they're idiots. Because most of our listeners are idiots, is what I'm trying to say. No, I don't believe in that nonsense at all.
I don't believe in that.
I think outside of being Mike Krzyzewski or Tom Izzo, March is.
We've had this argument before.
Yeah. Or Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is one of those. It's
completely random, except for
not random. It keeps happening. The same.
Except for all these coaches that are always there.
All these coaches. There's maybe 5 coaches.
Yeah.
Who will win you a tournament.
Absolutely.
And everyone else.
Right. And they keep doing it, right?
And they do it over and over and over.
But
it's more than 5. It's more than 5. It's Coach K, it's Roy Williams, it's Bill Self.
Roy Williams?
Get Roy Williams out of that group.
Get him out of here. What are you talking about, Roy
How many Final Fours did he go to with Kansas? And now he's, 1 or 2 titles with North Carolina?
How many times has he blown a second-round game?
So wait. You're gonna
argue
Gonzaga, but then you're gonna talk about blowing a second-round game about North Carolina. I mean,
I'm talking about
Gonzaga blows more freaking, and that's Mark Few, by the way. That's Mark Few. And
what I'm saying is that you can set your clock. You can set your clock on Coach
Gonzaga
K
losing the
Tom
tournament.
Izzo getting at least to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. I mean, those guys do it every year. It's more coaches that do it every year.
I mean,
Izzo is all he said. That's all
Izzo. I mean,
there's another one. How many? Yeah, it's all random though.
No, there's Izzo and Krzyzewski, and the rest are matchup driven. But to me, I keep coming back to this. It's so much matchup driven that I think Purdue. I mean, that's what is pushing Purdue so high in some of these prediction models. The draw that we got, as disrespectful as a 5 is, the draw that we got is really, really friendly. And
team deserve better. That's what I keep saying is the draw is fine and the matchups are fine. That's all well and good. This team deserved better for what they did this season. That's the thing that it just pisses me off. To say that team is ranked there in the nation is bull crap.
So looking at it, yeah, Iowa State, Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky got a little bit inflated towards the end. Cal, I don't understand. I mean, a lot of this, some of these West Coast teams are being pushed up a little bit. Duke, I shouldn't say just the West Coast teams because Duke and A&M are up there as well. But you look at A&M's body of work. I don't know. See, that's you start getting into this, and I think that's how we started the podcast, right? The selection committee is going to do what the selection committee is going to do, and at this point, all Purdue can do is play the games. I think we got a good shot. I think we got a good shot at this. And losing in the first round to Little Rock, Arkansas, is both semi. You can see it. You can see the outline of it happening, but it would also be a massive, massive disappointment, a massive upset.
I still can't. Texas A&M being a 3 seed, it just blows my mind though. They went through a stretch where they lost to Arkansas, beat Iowa State, lost to Vanderbilt, lost to South Carolina, lost to Alabama, lost to LSU, and they're a 3 seed. Those are 4 awful losses. Just bam. With
number one seed in the SEC, and they didn't win their conference tournament. So compare that to not even Purdue, right? Compare that to Michigan State. How do they get slighted with the season they put together?
I mean, compare that to Indiana, right?
Right. Like that's. I mean, Indiana losing their first game of the Big Ten tournament, I think definitely hurt them, right? But you know, one thing that the voters have shown all year, I don't know if you guys agree with this. I don't think people don't believe in Indiana. I don't know if it's because they had that Maui trip that was so bad.
That was really bad.
Yeah, but are we supposed to? But November games we're going to hold against the team right now, and then they had a light Big Ten schedule, right? They didn't have to play the tough Big Ten schedule. So I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve to be held against them a little, but they went 17-0 at home. I mean, that's
to Anisha's point, though. I think you can come up with any sort of justification for any seating that you want, and the committee is not sitting down through the season and watching these games. Like, do you think anyone on the committee has seen a single Hawaii game? Like any minute of a Hawaii game?
I doubt many of them have seen an Oregon game.
I mean, it's true. They probably don't. They've probably seen a handful of even their own team play. I mean, that's not their job, is to be an expert on college basketball.
That's great. So let's let them decide.
Let's have them put it all
Let's
together.
put 10 of them in a room.
What a bunch of bull crap.
It should be. It should be Charles Barkley, clearly, because he knows a whole lot.
I'm so happy that got leaked. Like, I'm so happy that
that's so good.
That had to be somebody at CBS, right? Somebody who just
got leaked, and it took them like another. It was still an hour. It was an hour into a 2-hour show.
It wasn't even that. I think it was.
No, it was a half hour in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was early. I think it was
so
maybe.
What was funny about it was that they were on pace to do like one thing in the bracket every half hour, right?
Did they pick it up?
Yeah. So right when it got leaked, they passed up all that touchscreen stuff, and they released the whole second half of the bracket at the same time.
That was offensive. That was offensive to do that to people.
So it's once it got leaked, nobody was watching it. So that was nice. But
if they pull this again, I hope it gets leaked every year. If they keep
right,
it's ridiculous. Why? And then you have this stuff with like Charles Barkley. Like, what I think people would be interested in is talk to the committee members at least. Right?
So ESPN was actually SportsCenter was actually running Scott Van Pelt and Mark Titus, which is actually pretty fun. But
love Titus's beard. Love the beard.
Huge beard. Crazy.
Huge beard. Big fan of that.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he won't return my emails asking him to come on the show.
Did you guys see him? I was saying this. I can't remember who I was saying this to. Ryan, maybe you. A few weeks ago, he was making a point on Van Pelt's show that the Denzel Valentine injury was an accident.
Yes, that's his conspiracy.
Sorry, that it was a conspiracy. That it was fake. He said Izzo just decided that things were going too well, and Denzel, you're going to have because then like a week later, Denzel's like dunking, and on Van Pelt's show, he's like, yeah, that's what you can do. You can do that a week after knee surgery. He's like, that makes perfect sense. It was great to have him just calling it out. It was so great.
Yeah,
I'm glad he has a career in.
You're glad he's out there, right?
He's perfect for that.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
A few somewhat grounded people is great. So
and Van Pelt's great. I mean, if you have people who can speak intelligently about the game, then have a 2-hour-long show, release all the teams within the first half hour, and then just have them talk.
Which is what you're going to do the rest of the night anyway, is all the analysis. But to hold it over people like that, it's so offensive.
Oh God, it's like way to take something that everyone loves
and ruin it. It's just like the NCAA.
Crap all over it. Yeah.
Just like the NCAA, it's just like television. It's find a way to frick it all up.
And then you get Kenny and Charles, and I love Charles Barkley. Like, even when he's being an idiot, I love Charles Barkley. But that man has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to college basketball.
He said it. At one point he said, like, we've watched the least, or he said, we know the least about college basketball, or something insane like that. Then apparently, people were quoting him on Twitter saying that apparently recently he said he's only watched like 5 NBA games all year.
Well, I think that's taken out of context, because he said that he's only watched 5 games from start to finish.
Okay. Well, it's sort of important. I think if your job is to comment on basketball, you should watch games from start to finish.
Well, no, true, but he's not counting games that he watches like the second and fourth quarter. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I understand.
You got like Kenny picking Maryland to make it to the Final Four when Maryland is like barely holding on right now.
Well, and then they go through the very first touchscreen debacle was Charles. And someone on Twitter said something great. They said, "Thank you, Charles, for showing us what chalk is." Like, he just went and picked. He just picked. And then there was someone calling him Chalk Barkley. instead of I thought that was pretty good too.
And
there
then
was
you
a
have
lot.
Seth Davis, whose job it is to do college basketball, and who will honestly occasionally write something interesting, but is incapable of making a cogent point either on Twitter or like in the booth.
And by the way,
He's got that stupid smirk on his face.
and everybody's in his head too. If you ever watch him on Twitter, he knows how hated he is, and
I mean, he should just stick to promoting that green juice and stop talking about
that his mother puts out. Yeah,
that his mother puts out
cancer.
that cures cancer and AIDS and dyslexia, poverty. It'll grow your hair back. Dowd, you should get some of that.
Gotta get some of the green juice.
Gotta get some of that green juice.
Yeah.
So
chopped into
I want to tell you guys, I want to confess something to you guys that maybe you'll find funny, maybe you won't. I actually have a hotel room held with 2 beds in it, 2 large beds. I'm not saying who. I'm not in Houston.
You do.
I do.
I have several things that I was planning around then, and I just to make sure, I kept checking the dates of the Final Four, and I'm like,
Right.
just in case. Like I'm not planning
Right.
it because of this.
Yeah, this can be.
I'd like to watch it on TV.
Exactly.
I'd like to not be, man, this draw is good. I don't share any of the anger justified anger at being a 5 seed, because if we were drawn, you know what I'd be pissed if I was an Indiana fan, I'd be pissed off.
The IU fans I know are.
Oh my God, I'd be irate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You win the Big Ten, and you I don't know, you flame out in the tournament, but whatever. I mean, like the Big Ten tournament, the tournaments aren't supposed to mean.
Clearly, it doesn't mean anything, as we learned today.
Well, but 1 second they'll say that the tournaments don't mean as much as the season, and the next second they'll put IU as a 5 seed. But I am not as mad.
Respected all year, but go ahead.
But I am not as mad because Purdue got the easiest draw out of, I think, most people. So I think it's okay. We can go, like, how do you guys think Purdue looked in the Big Ten tournament? I mean, the matchups were pretty easy until Michigan State in the championship game, because IU decided not to show up. But I mean, Purdue seems to be peaking, doesn't they?
I wrote about this in my post game, but yeah, no, they're peaking at the right time. They played Michigan State in the second half in a way that they haven't in the past, right? Like they didn't curl up and fall apart. They really came out and did all the right things. I don't know. I love how this team looks right now.
I mean, like except for today, like when AJ was fairly fresh, which is what he will be, on Thursday. He dominant. Like that's it. Like against Illinois and against Michigan, he was just absolutely dominant, and it was so. That's why today was frankly a little stunning, right? Every time AJ got that just push shot.
Yeah.
A couple feet outside of the paint, he would just drain it. And today it was a little, more unreliable. But he's just been so good. Vince is peaking. Like Vince is playing his absolute best basketball.
He's going to be so good next year.
I mean, that's what I thought to myself watching this little mini run here.
He's going to be an all Big Ten guy next year.
Yeah, I think so. And I know that was awful what Biggie did at the end, that shot. we all saw it coming, right? Right when you're like, oh crap. Right when he rolled up there, you're like, oh, he's gonna.
No, please don't do that. Oh, you just did that.
Yeah, you did it. And like from my angle, because I was at the corner of the court, I was like, that was just an abomination of a shot too. It was really a bad looking shot out of his hand. But I think that type of shot is something that can motivate somebody like him just to become an absolute mother from mid-range. I mean, I was a little further mid-range, I guess. Wasn't that like an 18, 19-footer?
That was a 3, but I mean,
okay.
But looking at that,
the one that almost missed the whole goal.
Yeah, the last.
And it made that horrible thud too. It was like where it hits like.
I didn't get to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Greg Doyle at the Indy Star actually wrote about it. Like
Rules.
he interviewed Painter and Biggie about it, and Biggie wasn't really remorseful. He was like, I feel great. He quoted and said, I feel great about it. I was wide open. AJ was asked about it and said, it's my fault I didn't get the ball because the play was drawn up for him. He said, I was supposed to be holding off my man a little harder. I didn't get it. And Painter was basically like, that dude shoots more than anybody I've ever had come through this program. So and all of the teammates, even Johnny Hill, Dakota Mathias, were like, Biggie has earned the right to take that shot. And so it doesn't seem like even Painter. Oh, Painter was like, so Painter said that he saw somebody, or he saw Biggie hit that shot against somebody in one of his high school tournaments, to move them on, and that he'll make it next time. And so
didn't he say that in January when Biggie took that exact same shot?
Yeah.
As much as we're saying, and I agree. I don't want Biggie shooting threes. He's much better with his back to the basket, bullying people close to the bucket. He's shooting 30%, which isn't an abomination, right?
No. Okay, he's shooting 29.8%, and that is an abomination.
30.
And he's
rounded up.
He's shooting he's taking what, like the fourth most attempts on the team?
That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah,
that's what I have.
I have less of a problem with that shot than I do with that I think it was the last Purdue drive of the game where Johnny Hill just decides to go coast to coast to get stuff.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
I was okay with that.
Yeah, I thought that was a good
Johnny
one.
had
he's been driving
Costello
with a little like, I don't like that at all.
It was barely blocked. It was
barely blocked.
But AJ was behind him, right? AJ
was loafing it up the floor, and Rafter
nine times out of 10, AJ is behind him, and grabs that rebound and throws it in, and you just happen to find that 10th one. I mean, like that.
But Johnny Hill's like your what number option when it comes to scoring? I mean, is he even numbered?
He had a good game.
Yes, he did have a good game, and I think.
I don't know if you can say that right now that you could say he's the 7th option on the team. I mean. He was pretty good.
We're going between, we're sharing bad shots. I think that the two, Biggie's shot was probably the worst, the worst shot of the end of it. But I think the second and third worst shots of the game were Ray Davis's, both of Ray Davis's shots.
The three was bad, and then the air ball jumper was really. I don't know what he was thinking.
That floater, the not floater, but it was a jumper along the baseline. It was like, why? It was completely off. It was not in rhythm. Yeah. I think we had like 15 seconds left on the shot clock, and it was one of those where Ray tries to take over. And he had it a couple times in this game where he would get to the free throw line and whatever. But like, one of them, he shot it like 4 feet outside the 3-point lane, and it's like, you're supposed to be...
Oh, that was on the left, slight left, right?
Yeah. And it's
I can't believe he's shooting this, and it missed, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Mathias on the court, and Mathias has been, just absolutely unbelievable. PJ friggin' Thompson playing out of his mind the entire tournament. Even Johnny Hill, just get it into his hands, and maybe he'll attack the basket or whatever, but like... Yeah.
But
don't take an off-balance shot like that. I don't know.
Here's the thing. You're down 13 points in the second half to Michigan State. And it takes a lot of luck to get that down to a 2-point game, to a 1-point game. At some point, that stuff evens out. I mean, it just did. They went through like an 8-minute stretch where they were taking good shots and playing great defense and doing all that sort of stuff. Like, you can't keep that up forever.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And that stretch was the best defense I've seen Purdue play all year. I mean, like that, they were just so active.
And you're talking a second half game in a deficit against Michigan State, playing tough defense for the third game in a row. I mean, those guys were done, man. They were just done.
I don't think anybody has a problem. This is one of those not rare losses, but this is one of those where, before the game, you find yourself saying, you say stuff, you make promises like, oh, I'm not going to be upset if they lose as long as they show or whatever, right? And then sometimes you kind of renege on that. I don't think anybody would right now. I think everybody's okay with that kind of a loss because it doesn't end your season, and it's I've just lost my train of thought due to doubt again. Even when he's not connected, he manages.
No, but to your point, like, yeah, the game we lost and everything, and that stinks. It would have been great to win the tournament, but you've got to feel pretty good. I mean, Michigan State could legitimately win the title this year, and we've given them as hard of a time as any other team has this whole season.
I think
So
Michigan State and Kansas are looking like two of the strongest teams this year. So yeah, I came out of it. It was just like I wanted this team to get to have something tangible, right? I wanted this team to leave something tangible. And there's no, in the tournament, hanging an Elite Eight banner is like meh. You hang a Sweet 16 banner is weak. But for some reason,
Purdue doesn't do those things.
Purdue has Sweet 16, I think.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. No, I don't believe so.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm.
I don't think so.
But like a Big Ten tournament champions banner, that would have been cool, and that would have been, you would have had something tangible up there in the rafters to reflect on this team.
Right.
And we were talking about that in the last podcast, I think too. Like, I don't, as much as we say and as much as it would be funny, like 10 years down the road, people, like, if this team kind of not flames out, but loses to like Virginia, or loses, to even Iowa State in the second round, I don't know how many people remember it, other than the people like us who are freaks, right?
But as opposed to, but compare that to like the Baby Boilers. They never made the deep run we all dreamed of, and you don't forget them. And that was
the Baby Boilers they peaked at number 3 in the country, right?
True.
And that's different.
the Baby Boilers are defined by their inability to achieve what we all thought that they could achieve. To be honest, I mean, like, it's the Hummel injury that everyone talks about all the time. It's the VCU loss that Purdue fans think about. It's even the loss to, in Hummel's last game to Kansas when they should have put that one away. I mean, but to most people outside of the Purdue community might reference the Baby Boilers, but they're not like a memorable team.
No, but what I'm
go the way of the Three Amigos.
But even Big Ten fans, right? Like, Big Ten fans remember the Baby Boilers, and you look up at the Mackey rafters, and that team is going to be immortalized, right? Because that was the rebirth. All 3 of those guys' jerseys are up there. That Big Ten champions banner is up there. The regular season champions banner is up there, and the Big Ten tournament championship is up there. And so that's tangible. But for these guys to miss out by like, I would say this, and that was the thing. Justin and I talked about this right after the game. The Purdue played really poorly for the first half. Purdue played well in the second half, really well in the second half, and rallied and stuff like that, and all this blah blah blah. But they didn't have a great game. I thought Michigan State played great. I thought Denzel Valentine looked like the best damn player in the entire country, and we lost by 4 points.
With a chance to win it with less than a minute.
A couple chances, yeah.
And it's just like that IU game, where it's like IU played absolutely unstoppable.
Their heads up their ass for an entire half. Right.
And they were playing at
today. It was a
10-minute
stretch. That 10-minute stretch is what this team has done over and over and over, right? Where they've dug themselves a hole in those 10 minutes where you're just like, what are they doing, right? Nothing is working. They can't score. They're really not that effective on defense, and then they are able to climb back into the games. And today I thought this felt a little different than those other games that they climbed back into, because they were, like Michigan State was counterpunching, They had guys that were playing really well, and Purdue didn't back down. So
I feel Purdue didn't come back by hitting like 5 threes in a row either.
Right.
That was a big thing for me. Like, they shot like hell and still managed.
They just locked down. They just decided that Michigan. Yeah, they just decided Michigan State wasn't going to score. And then Denzel Valentine decided, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, he still only wound up, I mean, I know
that shot over Raphael Davis, I don't know if you guys talked about that one.
The double clutch thing?
That was real. Because I had a perfect look at that one. I was like, Davis was in great position. His hand was right there, just off, ball side, and he just shifted. And he waited so long to shoot that his foot almost hit the ground, as he's adjusting,
Well, and that alley-oop to Davis was
The
ridiculous.
no look that was just like a loose ball.
Yeah, it looked like it was junk. It looked like he was just throwing it up, and I was like, "Holy crap!" But,
He's. I mean, like him. It's players like that are the players that I admire the most, right? Him and Oladipo in recent memory were players that
they
were
work really hard.
fringe. Yeah, I mean, like fringe, Big Ten player, not fringe, but like fringe Big Ten, like all Big Ten players, right? Who are good, undeniably good, but they can't be your best player. And
Right.
then all of a sudden they show up the next year and they're completely changed and they're carrying this team. I mean, Valentine's growth from even last year.
Oh yeah, I didn't think he'd be this good.
That's unbelievable. And like I respect the hell out of that.
Number 81 out of high school. in
Oh
the
yeah.
nation.
That's the
Oladipo
2012
like
class.
136.
Oladipo, I don't know why Painter. I don't know why Green keeps talking about Wade. I know why he keeps talking about Wade, but
Well,
like,
he is a future Hall of Famer.
Final four.
but
Final four.
Oladipo is his success story. I think. I mean, like
The development of him is incredible.
absolutely incredible. And what Izzo's done with Valentine, and I'd say what Draymond Green helped do with Valentine too. I mean, that's a huge mentorship there. But I mean, today it was just like the Michigan game, right? Michigan played hard. Michigan was really good, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to beat somebody where the best player on the team, the best player on the floor, is on the other side. And thankfully for Purdue, that was A.J. Hammonds against Michigan, and they couldn't even really get close to putting that one in danger. Today, Valentine just decided that it wasn't going to happen. But the fight that, particularly like Vince, the fight that Vince showed for the whole game, like he didn't really have a bad stretch, I don't think, today. He made a few mistakes.
He had a quiet stretch, but I don't think a bad stretch.
But I don't think it was bad. And some of those rebounds that he skied for, some of those offensive rebounds that he skied for was just like, Vince is peaking. It's great, and so
I think he's got a long way to go until he peaks. Honestly,
that's
he's climbing, right?
He was 0 of 6 from 3 today, and he still was Purdue's best player.
Still had 20 points, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I'll have to check the box score, but he
19, but yeah.
And his defense has gotten better, and I mean, on that fast break, he had one fast break where he caught the ball, and he did, it was just a small play, but, he jumped, leaned into his defender, which screened them from being able to block his shot, and just laid it up off the glass. And that was just a really smart play, like it doesn't make a highlight reel, but it shows that this guy is, really understands how to score. I think he's going to be so good next year. I'm really excited about that.
I think he wants to be really good this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants to be really, really good.
And he was one of those guys after the loss to Cincinnati that talked at length about how much that loss sucked, about how much he wanted to play Kentucky, about how much he wanted to win a game in the tournament. I mean, he like more than anyone else on the team. So if he averages 30 points a game,
then that would be fun.
Then Anish will just like disappear,
explode, because I don't think AJ is going to have another game like this. And it's not even like he was bad. Like it's not. If you look at the,
he had 8 points with 4 minutes left.
Yeah,
so it was like that Michigan game. That's kind of what it felt like.
The first one, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, that's like you said. If he was fatigued, that's fine. Big guys get fatigued a little bit more. But I mean, the turnaround within a weekend, playing 2 games in 3 days is a little bit better. Obviously, get some more rest there. But he didn't play. How many minutes did he play versus Michigan?
He was only 17.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That was the first game.
No,
so
he played
the Illinois game
against Michigan. He played a lot.
31.
Okay. Yeah, he played 31 against Michigan and 17 against Illinois.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so
makes a little more sense.
So what's the ceiling for this team? I mean, is this Final Four team based on? I mean, just whatever. Like based on path, based on how they're playing right now. Yeah.
I think you're.
He's just so excited.
I think the other guys have to talk because if you ask me, and I'm looking at this bracket, the damn ceiling for this team is reaching the
Damn
title
thing,
game.
Damn
I
ceiling,
think it's the damn thing. We have the easiest bracket. We get to face I think the East, which is the one that we would have to play in the Final Four, is the hardest bracket. So we get to play somebody just like whether it's a West Virginia or a Xavier or a UNC or a Kentucky or Indiana that has to go through the gauntlet. We get them, and yeah, they're confident, but they're tired. They are worn out. And to me, if Purdue were to do that, the most challenging game they have to play is Michigan State. Again, and assuming Michigan State gets there, because they have to get to the Elite Eight.
Got to get by Seton Hall.
Got to get by Seton Hall. You're asking me? The championship game is the ceiling for this team and this draw.
Our old guys, what do you think?
Well, real quick, this game is played where? The Arkansas Little Rock game. I'm trying to find that right now.
Colorado.
It's in Denver.
It's in
Yeah.
Denver.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that's one thing. It'll be, I don't want to say an empty. I don't think it'll be one of those where there's tons of people there to watch the first game anyway. I think the Final Four is the ceiling.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the ceiling is I agree. I don't think for the first time in a while I don't see a Purdue team going into the tournament where I'm like I can't even fathom, right? Like there've been teams over the years that I just can't even fathom winning more than a game or two. But all that said, and I know you guys will use your whole I don't think previous years matter, but
It does.
the next tournament game that AJ Hammonds wins will be the first tournament game he's won in 4 years of college.
That's massive.
And
It's the second one he's played. Yeah.
But that matters. A guy that good to
It
only.
matters. It does.
Yeah,
It does
sure,
matter a
sure,
lot.
sure.
And so that quickly changes though, right? Let's say they beat Arkansas Little Rock. Let's say they do it convincingly. Remember a few years ago when they got that shitty draw as a 4 and they played Siena, was it, or
Yeah.
somebody like
No,
that?
that was the 6. Yeah. But
Well, everyone was all worried, I don't know, that team, and Purdue just
Right.
Purdue just said nope, this is fine. I think that could happen, and we'll all go, oh, all right, they're ready to play, they're here to play.
Right.
If that happens, suddenly now he's got to win, and they're looking like the team that just won 5 in a row. So, who knows how things are going to go? I think the ceiling's a Final Four. I think realistically, are we going to also do that pick too? Are we going to say
Sure.
I think will happen? Because I look back at the beginning of the year when we were talking, and I know that us naysayers were feeling like a Sweet 16 will be a nice season. And right now, that's all I can envision. I just find like I said, you heard me earlier. How excited I am. I'm with you, Anish. I think you can't complain about this draw. You can't complain about the bracket they're in. There's nobody in there that you should be terrified of. Maybe Michigan State, but not terrified, right? That's the powerhouse.
You're going to be terrified of a team you've gone toe-to-toe with twice.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? If there's a team in there right. Okay, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying there's nobody in there that's like, crap, I don't know how they would even match with them. Right. But all that said, I feel like it's years of this where I need to see it before I'm going to start to believe that Matt Painter is going to take a team further than 16.
He's coached well in the tournament in the past, minus the VCU game. As I say that, I think of the VCU game. And
the Cincinnati game I can forgive. The VCU.
You are forgiving, my friend.
No, I can.
7 points in 45 seconds.
I can get past. I don't know if I can get past I can't forgive the VCU game. That's still.
That was a Final Four team.
You know what?
They lost to a Final Four team.
We're ending on a high note. We're ending on a high note.
We're ending on a high note.
I think this team can go to the Final Four, and I think most likely they'll make it to the Sweet 16, and then I think it's a coin flip to see if they make it to the Elite Eight.
Iowa State will be a tough one. But
they're all tough at this point, right?
I don't know. I've seen a couple of their games. I think they're very beatable. I don't think there's anything they can shoot, and they've got a star, so that's a good.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State.
Yeah.
Purdue's played stars. They should be
Purdue's
ready.
played
They
stars,
should be ready.
and Purdue has a great perimeter defense. Okay, a good enough perimeter defense.
Former Big Ten Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year out of that.
They've got a guy who can shut down anyone on the perimeter. So I think a Sweet 16. I think if they don't make the Sweet 16, I will be disappointed.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's a fair statement. I think after that, you begin to say, okay, now it's getting into special
So
season.
yeah, we're still at the same point
The same
where
point we talked about a week ago, really.
exactly the same point we were, where the floor for a successful season is reaching the championship of the Big Ten tournament, would check, and we almost pulled that out. 25 wins, which we're at 26, so check, and reaching the Sweet 16. And I think we'd all consider that a success. And anything more than that would be a wild success and awesome. And all of a sudden, Matt Painter could do things and blah blah
Here's
blah. And
another-
anything
well, here's
less
another-
could be, and anything less is this really the guy to take us there? Why couldn't we get past this point? Like anything less, and you start to ask questions.
Well, and here's one thing I like to throw in for perspective, right? For those of you who look at, wow, 6 wins is a lot of wins, and it is. But don't worry about 6 wins. You're not really worried about 6, right? You need 4 to get to the Final Four, and then it's a joyride. Then it's an insanely fun week.
That's a great way to look at it.
And I don't even look at it as 4. Here, I'll talk you down from this. It's really 3 wins you got to get your mind around, because if you can't win in the first round, then this is moot anyway. It doesn't really matter. You're going to win your first round game if you're really anywhere near a contender, right? So it's really those next 3 that give you the heart palpitations, right?
It's the Sweet 16 game to get into the Elite Eight. That's the big one, because that is the one that if you make to the Elite Eight, you have demonstrated that you are a quality team.
Your top 8 team. I mean,
your top 8 team. You people luck into the Sweet 16, right? You don't luck into the Elite Eight, right? And this team has not been in the Elite Eight since the year 2000.
Oh,
right?
I know.
I've not been alive for a Final Four team, and I'm in my 30s. I mean, this team.
I was alive and I don't remember it.
So, I mean, if you get to the Elite Eight, I am dancing on the roof. That's a fantastic season. And then it's something that you can build on, because I think if you get to the Sweet 16, it's like, okay, we've been to the Sweet 16.
Right.
It's good.
Right.
You know, let's hope next year is better.
Yep.
The Elite Eight is like, all right, this program is definitely headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a great conversation to have. Like, this is an awesome conversation to have. And you're right, if we can't beat, we got a tough draw in the first round, but if we can't beat a first round team, then we shouldn't be here.
Right.
But this is a really fun conversation to have. And even if we lose, honestly, even if we lose in the first round, like this team I don't know, this Big Ten tournament, like, clinched it for me. Not that I needed it, but like the Big Ten tournament, they showed some stuff that was just. AJ showed that. AJ showed that.
If they lose in the first round, you're reneging on that.
No, if they lose in the first round, all we're going to be doing is
you're going to just bitch
be
so loud,
sad, be angry, be like, what the heck? Why such an opportunity?
But only because this team should be, I don't know, because only because this team has meant so much, right? I mean, like, just because
you're only mad because you loved it so much.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're also mad because they're talented.
Yeah,
they're talented. There's too much talent to lose in the first round.
If they lose in the first round,
here's what they are. Here's the thing that's amazing. Okay, as much as I was angry at Anish at one point because I felt like he sold me something and I got into it because I trust him with everything, and then guess what they are? They're exactly what we all thought they'd be in July. That's the kind of the point that's amazing. That is amazing, right? And they're exactly at the point that we all thought, okay, the tournament defines this team's success. Again, that's it. What a great position to be in.
That is great. I'm happy. Let's pivot and talk about Purdue football. I'm thinking.
Let's go. Let's go. Practice report.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at our 2D.
Oh my gosh. Oh, those 2 deep.
That's what you'll be. See, if Purdue loses in the first round, that's what you'll be most sad about. Is the Bulls will be pivoting
talking about that. Oh boy. And then you guys will say things like, "That's a handsome hour topic right there."
Yeah, exactly. You guys
have fun with that.
That's where World Sports pivots into just complete snarkier sarcasm for like the next 9 months.
It's more than
stuff like that.
It's like dark, angry sarcasm.
Blocked from Purdue football. So.
It's a matter of time. Now, I've decided I've made it my mission. I'm gonna actually try the proper channels to get it in. I want an interview on the Handsome Hour with Morgan Burke when he steps down.
No.
Okay.
Yes. I'm gonna pursue it professionally, right?
Oh my gosh. All he has to do is take like 5 minutes and look up the site, things that I said in the last 3 or 4 months. That's all he has to do.
All he has to go is go to Twitter. Let's see what we've said about him on Twitter.
Oh.
No, he doesn't know how to use Twitter. Come
That's
on.
true. That is true. He's got a Twitter. He does not know how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His damn
Yeah.
Twitter.
You see, Mitch Daniels posted after the Michigan game.
Did he?
Daniels can use it. Daniels can use Twitter a little better than most of these guys.
He's a beast on Snapchat. I'll tell you that.
Speaking of people who don't use social media in an era when they probably should, so when Lovie Smith got hired, they got him a Twitter feed because he's recruiting college kids now, and it made me realize, like, again, that Darrell Hazel doesn't even have a Twitter account.
His hat does.
No. We're not talking about this. We have a Final Four
Thank
caliber
you for
team.
listening to the Purdue basketball beat.
That's
Thanks
what
to Dowd and Jay Money for stopping by and completely ruining the beginning, but
I didn't do anything.
pulling it out of the garbage for the end. So thanks, guys.
Bless you.